Hello, and welcome back to our playthrough Escape Velocity Nova. Today we're taking a look at the Bounty Hunter side mission string. Now, it's pretty easy to get into the side mission string. You just need to have a combat rating of average ability. I've gone and gotten our combat rating up to very competent, as you see here, which should be enough to meet all the prerequisites for every mission in this string. It starts off small as you'd expect, and each subsequent mission has a higher and higher combat rating. I've also gone ahead and equipped this mod Starbridge a little bit differently. This is the Federation hook. We're just going to go ahead and say no to that. A little bit differently than perhaps regular viewers are accustomed to seeing. So instead of the usual fusion pulse battery and railguns, I've gone ahead and made a close quarters build. I've tried to get into the spirit of this and think, alright, what would a kind of on the fringe of the law bounty hunter want to use in their ship? So we have an ion cannon, but it's an illegal version. We don't have the license for it. We have 6 hail chain guns for close quarters combat, and I know you're probably saying, I thought you hated hail chain guns. Well, we're just good. We're gonna have fun with this. We're gonna try things that I don't usually try. They do serve a purpose, and that's for melting down armor. We have the associated ammo, of which we have a ton, and we have 2 Thunderhead Lances. These are gonna be probably one of the best things that once we get into range, these will just melt through things. It'll be great. Besides that, it's all the usual things that I consider to be a must on every ship. You got your Vector Thrush, your Horizontal Booster, there's a Port and Polish, but you can't see that because you're not allowed to sell it. Pirate Jammer, Afterburner, Auto Recharger, IFF Decoder, Grav Sensors, and a Solar Panel, just to keep you from getting stuck places. We also have every single Sigma Shipyards upgrade. It will only show that one though, because once again, as with the Port and Polish, the others can't be sold. I'm going to show you a neat little thing. We're actually not going to select that from here. We're going to press the H key and then the backslash key, and you can tab around to the adjacent systems to jump to. So if you don't want to open the map or touch your mouse for any reason, there you go. You don't have to. No word yet as for importing Emacs key bindings into this, but give it time. So this is the Wild Geese hook. We're going to go ahead and say no to this fellow. And we meet the requirements, so it's a 45% chance from any Federation bar. Sure, let's go try to get in the Wolf 359 system. Be a particularly silly place to get it for anyone who is familiar with the plot of this game. No, didn't think so. Somehow it feels like there's a lower chance to get hooks from Wolf 359. We're going to stay far away from that awful system. Alright, so I think this is not what we want. This is the Auroran hook, so we're going to go ahead and tell them no. We're just going to keep trying. The problem with having a pilot like this, where we have avoided getting into any major storylines, and we have just done the Sigma Shipyards and the UN shipping hooks, is we're eligible for a lot of other missions, and so we're getting a lot of competition between those mission strings as to what appears in the bars. But if we're just persistent and keep at it, I'm sure it'll pop up easily. I am trying to break the habit of just going into the map to do single system jumps, but trust me, it's a work in progress. The fact that it's on backslash as well is not terribly convenient, but I could remap it if I was so inclined. Might remap to the G key. Problem is there's a bunch of keys that you don't think are bound to anything because they're for the larger fleet management hotkeys. Alright, so here we go. As you sit enjoying a well-earned drink, an athletic-looking, lean-faced man walks out of the crowd and sits down at your table. Are you Captain Spike Spiegel? It's a little bit of a Cowboy Bebop reference in this guy. He asks politely. You cautiously nod in agreement. I'm Jack Fulstam, captain of the Hunter, and member of the Guild of Bounty Hunters. Not a very originally named ship, my friend. He continues quietly. You've quite a reputation for combat, and I've been called in to see if you would like to make a little extra cash. Yeah, always. Sure, we have 11.97 million credits, but extra cash is extra cash. Alright, here's the deal, Fulstam continues. The Guild is prepared to offer you membership and a share of the reward if you can destroy an Auroran ship named the Swordsman's Song. Oh, that's a great name. That has been nosing around the system and its surroundings. The military is not prepared to spend the enormous resources required to locate a single ship, so they have placed a bounty, and that's where we come in. We're a little thin on the ground right now, so we're offering the job to you. Simply put, if you want to get your share of the bounty and become a member of the Bounty Hunters Guild, you have to go out, find the Swordsman's Song, and destroy it. Then to collect your payment, find the Guild offices on the Cane Band. The actual bounty from the Federation government is 20,000 credits, but the guild will take a 50% one-off membership fee. If you succeed, they'll give you clearance to access all the bounties through the mission BBS every time you land. Alright, so great, we have accepted, and now this ship will appear in one of these 5 systems. It'll be a surrounding system. I don't know if they can appear in the Auroran ones. I assume it can. I don't think it differentiates for government, but it's not appearing in this one. You have to give it a couple seconds, but it will be readily apparent because they'll jump in and they'll immediately become hostile to you. So nope, not here either. We'll go Tricania. For this reason, it is usually preferable to take these missions in terminus systems, so ones that only border one other system, because then the quarry will either be in your immediate system or right next to it. In the one other system right next to it, I should say. See, I like pressing M to open the map because it pauses it, gives you a little bit of time before you drift into the system center and then have to reposition and jump again, but there are pros and cons to everything in life. There he is. So we're going to go to 1x speed, and you can see this funny little build. It really does wonders in close combat, though. The Aurorans aren't too keen on us, so we're going to get out of here as fast as we can. Back to Tekel. And then back to the Sol system. So, the first mission is pretty easy, and if you wanted to, you could just do this one mission and then have access to these bounties for as much as you like. You don't actually have to take this string through to its end and get into one of the storylines. You can actually just stop here and you have access to these cool little bounty missions. But we're going to go through the entire thing. After going through your post-flight routine, you head off to find the offices for the Guild of Bounty Hunters. After a bewildering half hour, you eventually find it in one of the many promenades that dot the Cane Band. This structure here is called the Cane Band. The officious receptionist greets you, and after seeing your external camera shots of the action, pays you 10,000 credits. She explains to you that this is the only place where you can collect your bounties. She adds that you will only receive bounties if you have a clean record with the Federation. That's kinda not true. Goes on to explain that there are 2 guild rules that must be obeyed. Firstly, the guild takes 10% of all bounties received, and secondly, never attack another bounty hunter on pain of guild retaliation. And you will actually see one other guild ship out in general space, and that belongs to Jack. It's Jack's ship, the Hunter. And if he hails you, or you hail him in some circumstances, he will actually give you a bounty mission, which I think is, kind of neat. It's a nice touch. So the next part of the chain is just I think a 45% chance from any Federation bar. So we're going to zip around for a little bit. We're going to go back to Tekel, because, why not? And we're going to try to get to fire there. We're just going to jump back and forth between these 2 systems until it fires. I believe this one has a slightly higher combat requirement, but as I said, we have more than enough to get through the entire storyline. So once again, the problem with going to Tekel is that you do have to deal with the pirate line hook, and it's worth noting that if you refuse it, it doesn't go away forever. You can get it again, even though, it really reads like that should just be it. I think that the close combat version of the build we have here is actually kind of fun to use. I am usually against close combat because you really limit yourself in terms of your staying power in combat. So if you're fighting a whole bunch of ships, it's probably going to get you killed. If you're fighting just one ship, or probably 2 or 3, you might be okay. I would try to conquer any planets with it, though. That's probably the extent of its usefulness, or beyond the scope of its usefulness. Come on, Jack. There we go. You were about to take a swig from your first drink when you recognize the easy grace and long stride of Jack Fullstem weaving through the crowd. Without thinking, you wave to the Alcabot for a second drink and nod a greeting to him. Well, Captain Spike Spiegel, you're a hard act to follow. I mean, you could just call me by my first name, that's okay. He grins. I've been trying to get in touch with you for some time now. As you know, the guild only works in Federation space, Fullstem continues, after a long pull on his drink. But the Guildmaster and his Day and Night Masters want to open negotiations with the Aurorans to open another chapter house, so the guild would like you to take a little trip for them down to the Auroran capital. Are you interested? Yes, we are definitely interested. All you have to do is pick up the negotiators on Helen in the Iniar system, travel to Aurora, drop them off, wait around for them to finish, and then bring them back to Earth. Fullstem raises his eyebrows. Sounds pretty straightforward, but I can tell you that it won't be that easy. You can expect the Aurorans to test you all the way, and possibly all the way back, he warned seriously. You see, they have a warrior culture, and they will judge us by our ability to fight and survive as much as they will on our actual proposals. From their point of view, if you can't survive, then what hope do you have of working in their space? Fulstam shifts in his chair, leaning a little closer. A word about the negotiators, he grins wryly. Treat them with respect, be aware that they are desk jockeys. They will not know the first thing about space flight, and you had better watch that they don't panic and get in your way when the fighting starts. Good luck, Spike Spiegel. You'll have your work cut out for you. Alright, so easy enough. You just have to go pick up these negotiators. They're up in the galactic north in this case. Here are, people to challenge us. A bunch of Aurorans. These ones seem to be called the Yaitak, or they're Yaitrak. This here is usually the build of the ship. So for, say, the Valkyries, the Pirate Valkyries, it goes 1 through 4. For the Pirate Starbridge, it's A through D. The Aurorans usually have some parallel upgrade paths. I'm not familiar with this one. That's why I'm wondering if it is actually the designation for the story ships for this mission. And it very well could be. Thankfully, we have a Velos that happened to be in this system, so we can rely on them, actually, to probably take out many of these cruisers for us. But we're going to get into close combat and, earn our keep here. Earn the respect of the Aurorans by blowing up their cruisers. Just going to stay on them. Getting behind them is actually the best thing you can do, because a lot of weapons only fire out of the front. And so if you have a better maneuverability, then you can essentially just lock them down. Alright, so it's nice to have a little backup from the Velos. That was definitely a pleasant surprise. And now, I believe, because we've blown up those ships, they will not spawn new ones to chase us, and we can complete this at our leisure. Yeah, they don't seem to be following us around. I think that one Auroran was just incidental. So this is, amusingly enough, a planet known for its fabric manufacturing, and it actually features in some of the UN shipping missions. But that's not what we're concerned with here. As you do a little maintenance on your ship, you notice 3 nervous-looking men walk up to your ship. Excuse me? One of them asks anxiously. Is this the pirate's bounty, and are you Captain Spike Spiegel? You look skyward for a moment, and then ask if they are the guild negotiators. Yeah, replies their spokesperson, looking a little uncomfortable. Captain? It's alright, could you allow us? Could you show us where to put our gear, and give us an idea of what to expect? You see, none of us have actually been into space, and we really have no idea about what we should be doing. These guys sound super competent. You look skyward for a second time, before closing the access panel you're working on, and giving them a quick tour of the ship, followed by a rundown of the procedures you want them to follow in any emergency. Never before in your experience has it taken so long for a group of people to learn that when things go wrong, they should strap themselves in and shut up. That's good advice. And now we can just jump into the Hypergate system, and we can go directly to Aurora, because unlike Sol, Aurora has a Hypergate right in the system. That's the capital of the Auroran Empire, for those not in the know. This one you can't do with the H and / key combination, in case you were wondering. Upon landing, you are more than happy to open the hatch so that your passengers can get to work. One glance outside and they turn back to you, terrified. You lean over to see 10 savagely tattooed men holding various bladed weapons, waiting not 10 feet away. You realize that the Aurorans aren't finished testing you yet, so you step out drawing your blaster. One of them charges you. Calmly stepping sideways, your arm in motion, you slam your forearm down onto the warrior's neck. He collapses to the ground, relaxed. The rest grin, and another steps forward, lowering his weapons. I am Gurak Dektakar, he says simply. Know that we have accepted your proposal, and we have recognized your skill in traveling here. We will destroy your criminal records so that you can operate here safely. He continues respectfully. Meet us in the bar, and we shall talk more. You stand, momentarily surprised, before nodding and turning back to your ship. Well, that was easy, comments one of the passengers. You give him a long, quiet look before shaking your head and heading off to have a few drinks. So the negotiators are completely useless here. You make your way to the bar, where you're greeted by the sights and sounds of over 100 reveling warriors. So that's not super surprising when you consider that all of the Auroran planets are grossly overpopulated. Upon seeing you, there's a sudden hush, and you get a warning itch on the back of your neck. The silence drags on until one of the brutally tattooed warriors steps forward. I'm Akmar, he intones proudly, warrior of the Heron House, currently serving my time in the armies of the Empire, and I am brother of Druckmar, who died proving your strength today. Druckmar was a brave man, and you must be skilled to be able to beat him. He was my battle brother, but I bear you no ill will. He has simply gone to meet his death proudly. He holds out his hand, and you shake it. You are amazed at the strength of his grip. The remaining warriors return to their drinks, and the mayhem resumes, and Akmar asks you. Tomorrow you begin the long flight home, and passing on the good news to your masters of your guild. Yes, yes, indeed we will. Druckmar was not only my battle brother, but my kinsman as well. You fought with great skill, and I know that I can nominate you to become a warrior. Akmar continues. You look puzzled. It is an old tradition, but it is still legal. Druckmar knew the dangers of a warrior's life, and I know he was pleased. Or I know he was prepared, as we all are. I assume that's prepared to die. You carouse long into the night, sharing stories and drinks, and Akmar bestows an honor upon you that somehow remained clear in your mind. If you ever return, come to Heron, and, he slurred magnanimously, I will make sure that you are offered the test to become a warrior. If you survive, I will gladly call you my brother. In the morning, you wake up to see that your 3 passengers hovering over you. Must get back to Earth, they start excitedly. You must pass on the news so the guild can start its new chapter house. You wince, wondering why you have such irritating traveling companions, but you get up and begin readying your ship. So this is actually the first storyline that the Bounty Hunter mission string can lead into. I believe if you go to Heron and you hang out in the bar after doing this one, you will eventually be recruited into the Heron House, which is the house that the Auroran storyline takes place. So that's one option. Alternatively, you can keep going through the Bounty Hunter chain, and you can either then get into the Federation or Rebel storyline, but we'll talk more about that when we get to it. With a sigh, you finally land on one of Kane Band's countless docking bays, and you immediately begin your post-flight routine. When everything is finished, you lead your passengers to the guild offices to pass on the news. As soon as you walk in, your 3 passengers start telling stories about the voyage. You have to look skyward when you hear them say that it was their idea to get you to deal with the Auroran warriors. Noting your reaction, the receptionist comes over and takes you aside. Ignore them, she intones quietly. They have no real standing in the guild. I'll make sure that the Daymaster is aware of your work. I am sure she will be pleased. She continues in a louder voice. Now, in payment for your efforts in this mission, the guild has decided to give you a bonus of 50,000 credits, she grins, and the guild will now make available some of its higher paying and more difficult bounties. To collect, bring them here and ask for Corin, and I can assure you, I won't be far away. Corin is her, by the way. Her wording is a little bit strange, but just so it's clear. Alright, now the next mission will be from, again, a Federation port. We just have to hang around and wait for it to come up. So let's avoid going into Tickle, because then they're going to keep trying to get us into the pirate storyline. But I think the Bounty Hunter storyline is, kind of fun. It's very action-packed. And it really is kind of a fitting way to get into the Auroran storyline, seeing as you are more than combat capable if you're doing this. I mean, similarly, it is also pretty thematic for most of the storylines to be, in a combat role, which is kind of weird in the game, because the game is all about, the freedom where you can do what you want. You can be a courier, you can be a freighter captain, you can be a fighter, but all of the storylines kind of assume that you're going to be a fighter. Where this is even more noticeable is actually in the game Endless Sky, which is a spiritual successor to this, where a lot of missions in that game are just impossible if you're not a ship made out for fighting. You nearly choke on your drink when a hand clasps you on the shoulder as you take a sip. There you are, smiles Jack Fulstam. I've been following you for ages trying to catch you. He sits down opposite you and waves for a drink before continuing. The Daymaster wants you to go catch the first bounty that the Aurorans are offering to us, he grins. It's obviously something of a test, seeing as there are several outstanding matters that we know of that they could refer us to. But this is the only one they're offering us. your mind wanders as he pauses momentarily. You are beginning to be a little suspicious about the identity of this Day Master. You quietly shake off your reverie when you notice that he is eyeing you curiously. Are you interested? Of course we're interested. I never doubted you, he chuckles. I don't actually know that much about the mission. Apparently the Aurorans have a small pirate problem with a particular section of their space. It seems that two of the major Auroran families are saying that it is the other's job to deal with these outlaws. Jack shrugs his shoulders. Apparently that's where you come in, he continues. They want you to do something about it. Exactly what? I'm not so sure. That's it, I'm afraid. Get any more information, you're gonna have to go get it with the new chapter house on Aurora. And while you're at it, I'll have you go pick up Bindi, Volstim smiles. She's going to be the new receptionist for the Auroran chapter house and she needs a lift. Seeing that you have to go that way, the Daymaster would appreciate you giving her a ride. You can pick her up on Haven in the Aldebaran system. Jack stands up and sticks out his hand. Good luck. So simple enough. It's really just freightering down to Aurora. Kind of amusing that we are going to go to Haven in Aldebaran, because that is a significant system for the rebels. Is Haven? No, Haven is not the rebel planet, so that's something at least. And of course this mission can lead into the rebels. You walk off your ship, wondering what Bindi looks like when you hear a discreet cough off to your left. You turn to see a slim, young brunette smiling in your direction. She comes over and introduces herself as Bindi. After you show her around your ship, she begins telling you a little about herself. You learn that she has been involved with the guild since her early teens, when Fullstem rescued her from starvation on the impoverished brass in the Glimmer system. Since then, she has worked as a low-level courier between guild members, operated in a secure contact, and spent a few years studying under Corrin in the Federation office, so she's kinda done it all. Despite her youthful enthusiasm, you sense a deep intelligence behind her words, as if she is deliberately trying to draw you into conversation. To your surprise, she succeeds, and while you go through your pre-flight checklist, you find yourself telling her many of the things you haven't told anyone for years. You make a mental note to pay close attention to this young lady. Alright. Sadly, I don't think things ever really go anywhere with her. Ooh, you want to fight? Come on. Oh, okay. So already they got blown up before it even tapped them. But here's Jack. Can't hail him because he's entering hyperspace, but there's Jack. Hypergates make life so much better. Alright. Bindi fills your ears with pleasant banter as you pilot your craft down to the landing platforms of the Arcology, that houses the new chapter house. These things are Arcologies, by the way. Futuristic, giant buildings. You feel like you have known this pleasant young woman for years, not just a few weeks. However, you still get the feeling that she is trying to find out as much about you as possible, almost as if she is trying to figure out how best to handle you. You realize that this bubbly young lady is a very effective operator, if only because she is capable of hiding her true abilities behind a screen of pleasantries and youthful exuberance. You remind yourself for the 1000th time on this trip to watch yourself around her. Alright, she's got a lot of charisma. Well, thanks for the lift, says Bindi gratefully as she exits your ship. If you want to find out more about the bounty that the Aurorans have for you, it should be in the mission BBS. BBS stands for Bulletin Board System. She shifts her weight, striking a seemingly girlish pose. Oh well, she sighs. I guess I'll see you when you come back to collect your pay. She looks down at her shoes, suddenly nervous. Make sure you take care of yourself, she says shyly. It would be a shame if anything were to happen to you. In a sudden motion, she leans over and gives you a quick peck on the cheek, before giving you an embarrassed smile and hurriedly walking away. You stand a little stunned, and remind yourself, once again, pay very careful attention to that girl. She suddenly got that much more dangerous, or our character is really paranoid for some reason. There's the first Auroran bounty. The Aurorans have put a 100,000 credit bounty out for the capture of Kalyuk. He is believed to be located on the asteroid Houseless in the Kippa system. Apparently, the disgraced warrior Kalyuk has been operating the myriad fallen warriors into a formidable fighting force, and neither the Tekkel or Dani houses are prepared to deal with him, with both families claiming that it is the other's responsibility. Intelligence on his exact whereabouts on the asteroid Houseless is sketchy, but is known to frequent the bar virtually every afternoon for several hours. He is to be captured and returned alive to the chapter house on Aurora in order to stand trial for his crimes. Now, it's interesting that it mentions standing trial, because there's an important plot point in the Auroran storyline about how the Auroran Empire does not have a judiciary system. And really, it's kind of a foreign concept to them, so I don't know what they mean by trial, but I have to imagine it's probably not good. Alright, so Kippa is the pirate system here. It's surprisingly friendly to us. I wonder if that's because our reputation got reset from doing the chapter house mission, but I don't think it affects the pirate system, so I'm not sure why that's the case. I'm not complaining, though. But it's not somewhere you actually get to go often. I think this is the only mission that explicitly takes you to it. Just gonna stop on this listening post. They're always difficult to land on. And we're gonna try to get in and out of the Kippa system as fast as possible. It is a bit rough and tumble. We're gonna go down to 1x speed, see what we have to deal with here. Pirate, and a houseless. None of them are actually really interested in us right now. Oh, I stand corrected. We're gonna zip away, get out of range of all that close combat stuff, and take them on systematically. So first is this Phoenix. And we're just gonna charge him. Then we got an Abomination. Great. Boom. An Argosy. I always love blowing up Argosy. Silent Football. Look at that. Okay, I've never seen that before. That's hilarious. I kind of want to capture Silent Football there. It's Enterprise, which is actually a freighter ship for the Aurorans. It's surprising seeing how often you see it as a pirate ship. But hey, that's the historical, more Silent Footballs. Alright. Oh, I'm dumb. It's Silent Footfall. Although, for an Argosy, I mean, it is kind of football-shaped. I'm going with Silent Football. Oops, I overshot. There we go. Well, that was kind of fun. You breathe a heavy sigh of relief as you manage to get your beloved pirate's bounty down in one piece. You quickly unstrap and go through a very abbreviated post-flight routine so that you can get out of here and after this guy, Kaniak, as soon as possible. In all likelihood, he already knows that you're here, and possibly crawling down some hole somewhere just to make your life difficult. Soon enough, you're standing outside your ship, smelling the metallic odor of recycled air, trying to remind yourself why you like your work. Pushing these negative thoughts aside, you head off to the bar to start your search. We're going to also check out the outfitter, because it's fun. We're going to get more chain gun ammo, among other things. But, like with all pirate systems, occasionally they have cool stuff, like Pirate Viper Bays. Can't hold one, but cool all the same. Bunch of illegal stuff, too. But we're already illegal if we get scanned, so it doesn't really matter. Alright. You walk into the bar, but you don't recognize anyone as being even vaguely like Kaniak from the photos that came with the bounty. That is, until you look up to the second-floor balcony and see a man who looks as though he has the right build to be your mark. The man notices you looking in his direction and immediately bolts out of sight. You immediately sprint up the stairs after him, only to be met by two muscular, tattooed Auroran warriors carrying various types of bladed weapons barring your way. With no other option, you decide to take these men down. You pull out your blaster and blast their legs away. You leap over their groaning forms and continue your pursuit. As you step onto the balcony, you see a number of older Auroran warriors leaping to their feet, barring a door through which you presume Kaniak has fled. You switch to rapid fire and blast away the warriors, putting round down range and forcing them to put their heads down or have them taken off. As you get closer, some of the warriors begin to shoot at you. Without a second thought, you turn your field of fire to them and take them down. Blaster bolts fly past your head and graze your arm. Go to cover, slam home a fresh charge clip, and hammer away at your foes. Soon you have clear approach, but are pretty sure that your mark has escaped. First thing, you break cover and burst the doorway. No sooner have you leaped through the storm of fire. No sooner have you leaped through, a storm of fire erupts around you. You switch your selector back to single power level to stun. You switch your selector back to single power level to stun and go to ground and start picking off the enemy. Once you take stock of the situation, you become aware that there are only a few targets in the room. Watching for their muzzle flash, you pick them off before fumbling for the light switch. You quickly cast down an inert warrior and find Kaniak. He is deep in blaster-induced unconsciousness. Trailing over your shoulder, you quickly make your escape. After dodging some warriors who were obviously looking for you, and having to put a couple more into cognac to keep them under, you finally reach the safety of your ship. It seems like days since you left, but in actual truth, it has only been a couple of hours. As soon as you get on board, you secure cognac, slapping some leg irons and paradrugs into him to make sure he won't disturb you. You strap in and blast off, probably committing a number of port violations on the way. And we'll also read the little blurb here about Houseless, just because you don't get to come here that often. Situated in the Rothak dust field, Kippa is one of the group of systems that play home to Ronin warriors. Warriors who have been cast out of their families for dishonorable actions. These warriors occasionally attack along the trade routes close by. On the small asteroid, which they have named Houseless, these warriors have a small base for refueling and some basic repairs. So far, they have managed to avoid angering the Dani or Tekkel families too much, and so they continue to plague this area. Both these great houses claim these systems fall inside the borders of the other, and that therefore, it is not their problem. In short, these pirates continue to operate freely. And if you go to the bar, the richly appointed establishment is overlooked by a balcony which has but one table. A shadowy figure sits there watching the movements of everyone in the bar. So if you were to come here before this mission, that would be your guy. Alright, we're coming up against half an hour here, so we're going to make a cut here and then continue on in the next video, which should probably take care of the rest of the mission string, provided we can get along with things nice and quickly. But I hope you enjoyed the content. If you want to see more stuff like this, please check out one of the playlists where we go through the various main storylines, or check out some of the other side mission videos. But whatever you do, until next time, I hope you have a good one.